So good morning all, and out with RB, and we're going to be test riding this morning. This is the LXS from Lexmoto. Now, we did the ride video on this. We did the first demo and the first unveiling of the LXS about a week ago, or a couple of weeks ago, and this is going to be the first test ride for the customer. It's sold within 4 hours of that video actually going up. We have about 12 of these coming in. We're just going to have a quick look round. So this is in the grey and the fluoro yellow, and if people say to me very MT, that is all I'm going to say about that. Yes, the colours are very MT on this. Just check out the headlights on that. So just looking down the front, you've got those nice twin lights to the front, LEDs all the way round. Now the mirror position on this is very good, and I'll show you that once we sit on the bike. Got your twin discs to the front. You've got the LXS badging down the side of the bike. Still very easy to get in and do all your maintenance, check your oils, check your rear brakes, and obviously check all that rear disc. We're not going to show you the rear of the bike because it's got the customer's number plate on it, and we don't show number plates, but this is Lewis's bike. So what we're going to do, we're going to get out and have a test ride on this. Now what we will find is that on the right hand side you've got your start and your kill switch. On the left hand, the standard setup, you've got your horn, your indicators, your hazards, your main, and you've got your pass light to the rear. Lights are permanently on this one. So it's not like the LXR Euro 4 where we used to be able to switch the lights up. These are permanently on. Seating is slightly different. 790 on the seat on this, so it's a little bit lower in the seat. And just looking down, there we go. You can see I'm very flat-footed with a bent leg. So it is a lot lower in the seat than the LXR. And obviously with a 32 inside leg, once my legs are up on them pegs, you can see I'm nicely tucked into the tank, so very comfortable on this. Obviously I do prefer the LXR, gives me a little bit more leg room, but the LXS is still as comfortable. So I would say if you are looking at either the LXR or the LXS, then check it out, go and sit on a bike and try it for size before you decide to buy. Just going to get through the gearbox very quickly on this one. Third, fourth, fifth, right up into six, and then get the power on. Now this has a 6-speed box compared to the Euro 5s at a 5, but the gearbox on this is so super smooth. Absolutely lovely gearbox on this. Now that's got a full LED display down there. If you've seen the first video where we did the up close and personal, this has got a full LED display on it. So your revs come out along the top, your mileage, your time is in the bottom left hand side of the window, your gear indicator, fuel tank is off to the right hand side, and then all your indicators and everything are in the functions that are off to the left and the right hand side of that LED display. But it's clutching in, and that drops down through that gearbox absolutely superbly. Now the other slight difference to this one, this has an underseat exhaust, and I do know that someone has got one of these and he has put a Black Widow can on it, and that Black Widow can, absolutely gorgeous sound off of it. Now the mirrors on this, very wide, and I've got literally, I would say, less than an eighth of my shoulder. Obviously my ride camera will probably show, because it's on the side of the helmet, it will probably show my arm and shoulder in that right hand mirror, but from where my eyes are, I've got a full view of the road behind me, so I can see all those vehicles, and the same with the left hand mirror. So the mirrors are out very wide. And obviously you can adjust them up and down using an Allen key just to get a little bit more width, or bring them in. So depending on your riding style and where you're seated on the bike, you're going to get a perfect view of the road behind. Now obviously I'm tucked in, and the seat does push you forward into the tank, so it is an inclined seat, but once you've got your knees gripped in, I've got my butt cheeks right against the back of that seat stop, so I'm in quite low. And obviously with these bars, yes, you are over the bars like a sports bike, but it's very comfortable on the wrists. It's not as bad as what some people say, oh, you're slung over a sports bike, it's going to hurt your wrist after 20 miles or 30 miles. It's not actually, it's very, very light on the wrist. I've got hardly any weight on my wrist riding upright. Now obviously if I decided I wanted to get low, you can obviously get your stomach in against that tank, crouch yourself down, and once again it is still very, very comfortable. So obviously I'm 5'10", 32 inside leg, but it is still very, very comfortable. And it is a very cold morning today. We've got thunderstorms and rain on the way, and it is absolutely nippy out. So it's about 5 degrees at the moment, this morning's temperature. But with the knees tucked in, I've got no wind buffeting my knees because I'm tucked in nice to that tank. It's got a very, very slim profile to this bike. And as always, with our ride test mileage, we ride between 40 and 45 for the first 311 miles. Now we normally put about 12 to 15 miles on every bike. Normally we aim to put around about 20k. We call it 20k, but I tend to aim for around about 12 to 15 miles on every bike. 2 lots of test rides. Now obviously LXSs and LXRs are all coming into the country. We have absolutely shed loads of these on order. And so far we've taken just over about 250 calls for Lexmoto bikes, so it is going absolutely nuts, and we are not the only dealer that is struggling at the moment to get hold of bikes. Everybody's pre-ordering bikes left, right and centre, and obviously with those Euro 5 changes the prices have gone up. Is it worth the extra for the Euro 5? Hell yes. I love both of these. That black and gold LXR I absolutely fell in love with, but this LXS, once again, my first impressions were it's a little bit lower in the seat. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Because obviously it is a lot smaller bike compared to the LXR, but no, this is a very comfortable bike to ride. Now obviously if you are doing sports bikes and you like the sports bike feel, the only thing to remember, there is no seat storage. There is the tiniest bit of seat storage on these. You're not going to get a top box on it. If you want to get a top box or you want to put some storage on your bike, then don't go for an LXR or an LXS. Go for something like a ZSB, or go for something that is, you can put a top box and a rack on if you're looking for the obviously the touring option on that. Now the thing to do, obviously, and what I do riding sports bikes, is to get myself what they call a biker's backpack. So it is a solid back rucksack, and it moulds to your back, and it's also very, very wind resistant. So it's not just like your camping rucksack you would have, it's a full biker's rucksack. Get yourself one of those and make life a bit easier. Or what I have seen some people doing is you can get yourself like a little givey bag, and it actually straps under the back seat, so it gives you a little bit of storage at the back of the bike. So it's basically like a little 12-litre givey bag that just straps under the seat. So you can go along that option of putting one of those on. Obviously just keeping my eye on these cars behind. If you've seen the previous video with cars behind me. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back down the dual carriageway again, get a little bit more mileage on this bike. We're currently 9.6 miles in on this, because obviously we used this to do the first video, so we ramped up about 6 miles on it first time round. And obviously pulling up at junctions, we always say put yourself on the off side or the near side of a car, let them see you. And also for cars coming in too fast, you're off to the side, you're not going to be that sandwich in the middle. So we're going to switch lanes here, going to drop back down the dual carriageway, and we're going to ramp up some more mileage on this one. But first impressions, absolutely beautiful ride off of this. Now this is obviously a lot quieter than the LXR, but you can give it some loudness by putting that aftermarket can on it. But once again, just working through that gearbox. Obviously I'm on fresh rubber, but it holds its line. Tyres on this, as I say on all the Lexmoto bikes, never have an issue with tyres. But obviously if you wanted to put something else on it, then go along the lines of your big budget tyres, something like Michelin, Bridgestone, Pirelli. It's individual choice on these. But I never have an issue on these Lexmoto tyres, and we always say ride to the conditions that you are in. So if it's a wet day, you're going to be taking it a little bit easy. If it's a cold morning, let your tyres warm up. It's starting to sun up, but it's still a bit overcast today, and then obviously still take it easy. But on a nice hot summer's day, this thing would corner. Well, obviously we're going to get an Insta360 coming to us, and we're going to be mounting a couple of GoPros on the next lot of test rides, one slung low so you can see the lean angles, because a lot of people say, how far over do you push your bike? I do tend to push a sports bike around, or any bike around, just to see how low I can get it before the tyres start to break out on me. So we will be mounting a couple of GoPros on the new bikes just to show you lean angles. So we're 10.5 miles in on this now. And we're going to do a little bit of around town, which I call the urban route now. So we're going to switch up. So this is ride route number 1, as I call it. But I am going to switch up and go into ride route number 2, which is just around town, just to show you what she's like around town. And obviously people have asked me, what's your reach score on this one? Rideability, and now this is from a personal opinion, so everybody's opinion of a bike is going to be different. Some people say, oh, you know, what do you think? You love all the Lexmotos. There are some that I love, some that I absolutely hate. So I tend to give a very honest and not a biased opinion towards Lexmoto bikes. Yes, I do love the Lexmoto range. They are good for the money. But there are some that I don't like. It's the same as the big bike brands. There are some that I absolutely hate, and some that people say, oh God, how can you slag that bike off? I am not a lover of the BMW GS series. Now, the BMW GS is probably one of the best tourers that you can buy, but I just don't like the look of the bike. I don't like how the engine sticks out the side, that boxer engine. It's not the bike for me. But when I actually rode one, yes, I couldn't fault it, but aesthetically, looking at it, I think it's an ugly bike. And that is personal opinion. On these, so rideability, and I'm going to give it a 9. And the simple reason being, obviously as a long-legged rider, I just prefer the feel of the LXR to this LXS. Now, it's personal opinion. It's a good bike, I can't fault it. Affordability, or should we go for the E, economy first? So R, rideability, I'm going to give it a 9. E for economy, it's a 125. You're going to get shed loads out of mileage out of a 125. Now obviously go and check the spec out on these. They do quite a lot to the gallon, and you consider a big sports bike, you're going to get a damn sight more mileage out of a 125 than you are out of a big sports bike. I'm lucky if I get 100 out of my tank, and obviously my bike does about 20 to the gallon. Affordability though, but these are priced exactly the same price as the LXR. So these come out at 2499.99, 2.5 grand. And then obviously you've got your on-the-road fees. Now all dealers do different on-the-road fees. Some do it more, some do it less. We charge £190 for our on-the-road fees, which is £100 for the PDI, the inspection, and to get all the bike up, and then £90 covers your admin paperwork. When you consider the amount of hours that we're putting into ride testing one of these, getting the bike prepped, banging all the mileage on it, that is the simple reason we charge a little bit more. Comfort, I'm going to give it a 9 again. Yes, it is a comfortable bike, but once again, I prefer a little bit more the LXR because it's a bit more comfortable for me as a bigger person. Handling, I'm not going to fault it. If I could give this bike 20, I would. This thing handles like it is on rails, and with that setup of that digital dash, so easy to see. So all in all, I'm going to give this a 48 out of 50. And I do like my Lexmoto bikes up quite well. Because obviously the reason being, these things are just so good. If you maintain them, you look after them, you keep them clean, get some ACF 50 on it, all bikes will rust. And obviously if you're using it as your daily commute, which most do, a bike will rust. So give it a wash, get that road salt off it, get some ACF 50 on it, or a good anti-corrosion spray. There's loads on the market, but I swear by ACF 50. Love the stuff. If I could bath in it, I would. So get yourself some ACF 50. And the other thing, obviously, you must run these bikes in. And as we say, get through the gearbox as quick as you can, and then get your revs on from 6 gear. 40 miles an hour, maximum 45 for the first 311 miles. Once you've done that, bike service, get it serviced. Once you've had your first service, then you can take it up to 50, maximum of 55 in little bursts. But just look how easy it is just to flick it around those speed bumps. So get your second service out the way, then you're good to go. Now people have said, what is the top speed of one of these? I don't know yet, because we haven't run this one in. But obviously the tech spec says around about 70 mile an hour. And obviously you're going to get more or less depending on your road conditions, your wind conditions and your weather. A bike will always run better in warmer weather than it will in the cold, because obviously air is more dense in colder weather. But we can't fault this, absolutely perfect, and it does what it says on the tin. And obviously if you compare this to the big brands that are out, then you are getting a lot of bang for your buck. And this thing is, in the fluoro colours, it is a head turner. People do stop to look and see what is coming down the road. And I'm enjoying riding this actually, but just once again I'm just going to, it holds its line, pushes low through the corners, and it's very easy just to get a bit of weave on, just to warm those tyres up. Absolutely lovely. So this is the LXS, first ride we've ever done on it, and I'm 13.5, so heading back to the garage for that obligatory cup of coffee and my early morning cigarette. Disgusting habit. But if you are interested in an LXS, and a lot of dealers have got them, and there are some very, very good dealers around the country, but we've got them in as well. And you can find it all on the website, which is down here, bottom right, www.eclipsemotorcyclesmk.co.uk. And the telephone number is down there at the bottom as well, which is 01908 643 603. Give the bike sales team a call. We're expecting all these to arrive in the next 2 weeks. We've got 61 bikes on order, and God knows where the boys are going to store them all, because I have got about 41 used bikes in already, and obviously bikes that are due to come out over the next couple of weeks. The easiest way to find all my stuff is off of my website, which is revbomb.co.uk. Go into their social media page, and all the links are there for my Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You will find me hanging around on the Lexmoto Owners UK page. I tend to hang around in a lot of Lexmoto pages. Some of them I tend to use my real name, so you will spot who I am. Look for Doctor Who. Or you can find me on some of the pages as RevBomb. Always there to give help, but there's a lot of dealers that hang out on those pages, especially Nathaniel. He's one of the main ones that hangs out on the Lexmoto Owners UK. Very, very knowledgeable guy. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, 2 thumbs down. Comments down the bottom, please. Love to hear what you think of this new LXS. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. Lovely ride. And then don't forget that notifications bell up the top. Hit the like and subscribe button for us. Okay, Mr. Van, thank you very much. Here again, taxi driver that puts the indicator on as he's turning the corner. So we're going to head back and finish off the ride test of the LXR. It's been a little bit of a longer one because I wanted to do a longer video on this one and just show you what she rides like over a longer distance. And we're nearly 15 miles in on this and no issues whatsoever. But obviously once this engine loosens up, you're going to get absolute shed loads of power out of it. Now compared to the 12.5 of the LXR, this has got 13.8 and a lot lower revs. But don't forget, go on the Lexmoto pages, check out the tech spec on the LXS, compare it to the LXR, you'll see all the differences. And as we head back, finishing the ride test off from RB, whatever you're doing this week, be well, ride safe, and as always, it's a big goodbye from me.